Shooting sports is a collective group of competitive and recreational sporting activities involving proficiency tests of accuracy, precision, and speed in using various types of ranged weapons, mainly referring to man-portable guns, firearms and air guns, in forms such as handguns, rifles and shotguns, and bows/crossbows. Different disciplines of shooting sports can be categorized by equipment, shooting distances, targets, time limits, and degrees of athleticism involved. Shooting sports may involve both team and individual competition, and team performance is usually assessed by summing the scores of the individual team members. Due to the noise of shooting and the high, and often lethal, impact energy of the projectiles, shooting sports are typically conducted at either designated permanent shooting ranges or temporary shooting fields in the area away from settlements. History. The National Rifle Association of the United Kingdom, NRA, was founded in 1860 to raise the funds for an annual national rifle meeting for the encouragement of volunteer rifle corps and the promotion of rifle shooting throughout Great Britain. For similar reasons, concerned over poor marksmanship during the American Civil War, veteran Union officers Colonel William C. Church and General George Wingate formed the National Rifle Association of America in 1871 for the purpose of promoting and encouraging rifle shooting on a scientific basis. In 1872, with financial help from New York State, a site on Long Island, the Creed Farm, was purchased for the purpose of building a rifle range. Named Creed Moor, the range opened in 1872, and became the site of the first national matches until New York politics forced the NRA to move the matches to Seagirt, New Jersey. The popularity of the national matches soon forced the event to be moved to its present, much larger location, Camp Perry. In 1903, the U.S. Congress created the National Board for the Promotion of Rifle Practice, NBPRP, an advisory board to the Secretary of the Army, with a nearly identical charter to the NRA. The NBPRP, now known as the Civilian Marksmanship Program, also participates in the national matches at Camp Perry. In 1903, the NRA began to establish rifle clubs at all major colleges, universities, and military academies. By 1906, youth programs were in full swing with more than 200 boys competing in the national matches. Today, more than 1 million youth participate in shooting sports events and affiliated programs through groups such as 4-H, the Boy Scouts of America, the American Legion, USJCs, NCAA, the USA High School Clay Target League, the Scholastic Clay Target Program, National Guard Bureau, ROTC, and DROTC. French pistol champion and founder of the modern Olympics, Pierre de Coubertin, participated in many of these early competitions. This fact certainly contributed to the inclusion of 5 shooting events in the 1896 Olympics. Over the years, the events have been changed a number of times in order to keep up with technology and social standards. The targets that formerly resembled humans or animals in their shape and size are now a circular shape in order to avoid associating the sport with any form of violence. At the same time, some events have been dropped and new ones have been added. The 2004 Olympics featured 3 shooting disciplines, rifle, pistol, and shotgun, where athletes competed for 51 medals in 10 men's and 7 women's events, slightly fewer than the previous Olympic schedule. In the Olympic Games, the shooting sport has always enjoyed the distinction of awarding the first medals of the Games. Internationally, the International Shooting Sport Federation, ISSF, has oversight of all Olympic shooting events worldwide, while national governing bodies, NGBs, administer the sport within each country. Having originally established shooting as an organized sport in the USA, the NRA was the obvious choice to administer the United States' participation in the Olympic Games. The NRA dutifully managed and financially supported international and conventional shooting sports, i.e., national matches, for over 100 years until the formation of USA Shooting. Gun shooting sports. Gun shooting sports are shot with either firearms or air guns, which can be either handguns, rifles, and slash or shotguns. Handguns are handheld small arms designed to be shot offhand without needing a shoulder stock. The two main subtypes of handguns are pistols and revolvers. They are much more convenient to carry in general, but usually have a shorter effective range and less accuracy compared to long guns such as rifles. A rifle is a long gun with a rifled barrel, and requires the use of both hands to hold and brace against the shoulder via a stock in order to shoot steadily. They generally have a longer range and greater accuracy than handguns, and are popular for hunting. In shooting sports, bolt-action rifles are the most commonly used, and semi-automatic rifles are generally not allowed with the exception of a few small caliber and practical shooting disciplines. A shotgun is similar to a rifle but often smoothbore and larger in caliber, and typically fires either a shell containing many smaller scattering sub-projectiles called shots, or a single large projectile called a slug. In shooting sports, shotguns are more often over/under type break action or semi-automatic shotguns, and the majority of shotgun events are included in clay pigeon shooting. Bullseye shooting. Bullseye shooting is a term used to describe several pistol and rifle shooting disciplines where the objective is to achieve as many points as possible by hitting a round shooting target as close to the middle as possible with slow precision fire. These disciplines place a large emphasis on precision and accuracy through sight picture, breath, and trigger control. Fixed and relatively long time limits give the competitors time to concentrate for a perfect shot. An example of bullseye shooting is the ISSF pistol and rifle disciplines, but there are also many other national and international disciplines which can be classified at bullseye shooting. The shooting distances are typically given in round numbers, such as 10, 15, 25, 50, 100, 200, or 300 meters depending on firearm type and discipline. Competitions are usually shot from permanent shooting ranges and with the same target arrangement and distance from match to match. Usually the competitors each have their own shooting target and shoot beside each other simultaneously. Because of the relatively simple match format, beginners are often recommended bullseye shooting in order to learn the fundamentals of marksmanship. Bullseye shooting is part of the Summer Olympic Games, and a considerable amount of training is needed to become proficient. Bullseye shooting with handguns. The 6 ISSF shooting events with pistols, 4 Olympic events plus 2 events not included in the Olympics program but are contested in World Cups and World Championships. Its roots date back to the first modern Olympic Games in 1896, consist of both precision slow-fire and rapid-fire target shooting from distances of 10, 25, and 50 meters. The pistols are unique in appearance compared to normal guns and each event has its own pistols designed specifically for the job. Shooters must use one hand only to shoot at small bullseye target downrange. In the UK, except for Northern Ireland, it is no longer possible to practice for some of the Olympic events following the Firearms Amendment, No. 2, Act 1997, legislation brought in after the Dunblane Massacre. The CISM rapid-fire match is similar to the ISSF 25M rapid-fire pistol event. NRA precision pistol, also called conventional pistol shooting, is a bullseye shooting where up to 3 handguns of differing calibers are used. Its history is almost as old as ISSF events. Shooters must fire the pistol one-handed at 6 and 8-inch bullseye targets placed 25 and 50 yards downrange respectively. Precision Pistol Competition, PPC, was originally a police shooting program started in 1960 by the National Rifle Association. Bullseye shooting with rifles. 4-position small bore is a popular sport in the U.S. The 6 rifle ISSF shooting events, including 3 Olympic events, consist of long-time target shooting from distances of 10 or 50 or 300 meters, 33 or 164 or 984 feet. Gallery rifle shooting is popular in the UK and was introduced as a substitute for many pistol shooting disciplines following the 1997 handgun ban. High-power rifle, also known as across-the-course or traditional high-power, in the United States is a format that shoots 3-position, standing, kneeling, or sitting, and prone, at 200, 300, and 600 yards. The term across the course is used because the match format requires the competitors to shoot at different distances to complete the course of fire. Military service rifle shooting is a shooting discipline that involves the use of rifles that are used by military forces and law enforcement agencies, both past and present use. Ex-military rifles, sniper rifles, both past and present, and civilian versions of current use service rifles are commonly used in the military service rifle shooting competitions. It is popular in the United States and culminates each year with the national matches being held at Camp Perry, Ohio. Some countries have outlawed civilian shooting at human silhouette targets. Silhouette targets are not used in the national match course of fire. Bullseye targets are used. High-power rifle competition often is held at the same events as service rifle, such as the U.S. National Championships each year at Camp Perry. High-power competitors generally are civilians using whatever rifles they prefer within the rules, whereas service rifle entrants are limited to current or previous U.S. Armed Forces weapons. Although according to NRA rules only certain matches allow optical sights, normally those conducted at ranges over 600 yards. Project Appleseed is a rifle marksmanship program by the Revolutionary War Veterans Association that teaches both rifle marksmanship and oral history regarding the American Revolutionary War. It shoots 3-position, standing, sitting, and prone, at 25 meters at reduced scale targets, simulating shooting at 100, 200, 300, and 400 yards. The techniques taught easily apply to transitioning to high-power rifle. Full-bore and small-bore rifle shooting in the United Kingdom. 3-position airgun competitions, popular in the United States. Field shooting. Field shooting or terrain shooting refer to a set of pistol and rifle shooting disciplines that usually are shot from temporary shooting ranges in the terrain at varying, and sometimes unknown, distances, rather than at permanent shooting ranges at fixed distances. Field shooting with handguns. Nordic handgun field shooting competitions are shot with pistol and revolver in different classes depending on equipment, with classes up from small bore .22 LR to large bore .500 S&W Magnum. Matches are held outdoor throughout the year with varied shooting targets and distances, and are arranged by the Norwegian Shooting Association, NSF, the Danish Gymnastics and Sports Associations, DGI Shooting, and the Swedish Pistol Shooting Association, SPSF. Field shooting with rifles. Nordic rifle field shooting are shot with either small bore .22 LR cartridge at 100 meters, or intermediate, such as .223 Remington or 6 mm BR, or battle rifle cartridges, such as the 6.5 x 55 mm .308 Winchester or the .3006 Springfield, at distances from 100 to 650 meters. With 200 and 300 meters being ordinary shooting distance in Nordic bullseye rifle shooting, those targets placed well beyond 300 meters in rifle field shooting means that the competition format also can be classified as a long-range shooting discipline. Matches are usually held in the winter season with varied targets, and are arranged by the National Rifle Association of Norway, DFS, the Danish Gymnastics and Sports Associations, DGI Shooting, and the Swedish Shooting Sport Association, SVSF. Precision rifle competitions, like the Precision Rifle Series, PRS, is both a field and long-range shooting discipline where rifles with intermediate or battle rifle cartridges are shot in the terrain at varying distances from about 10 to 1,000 meters. Field target is an outdoor air gun discipline originating in the United Kingdom, but gaining popularity worldwide. Rapid fire. Rapid fire with handguns. The Bianchi Cup, a fusion of IPSC, without the run and gun element, and bullseye shooting, except shot with two hands and going prone whenever rules allow it, where accuracy under tight time limits in 4 simulated scenarios, known as the Event, S, is the basis of this competition. Shooters must start with gun in the holster on every strings of fire and distances range from 10 to 50 yards. Fast draw, also known as quick draw, a form of pistol action shooting from North America, based on the romanticized art of the gunslingers in the American Old West, using traditional single-action revolvers. But unlike cowboy action shooting, fast draw is done with special blanks or wax bullets. While some competitions are strictly against the clock, with the fastest time winning, many are set up as head-to-head single or double elimination matches. Rapid fire with rifles. The CISM rapid fire match is a sped-up version of the ISSF 300M standard rifle event. Feldthirtigskyting, literally field rapid shooting, and stangskiting are a type of variable rapid-fire rifle competitions popular in Scandinavia. Clay target. Clay pigeon shooting are shotgun disciplines shot at flying clay pigeon targets. The three shotgun ISSF/Olympic shooting events are based on quick reaction to clay targets thrown by a machines called traps. Skeet, targets are either thrown in singles or doubles from two throwers called traps placed 40 meters apart. Trap and double trap, either one, trap, or two targets, double trap, are thrown from 15 meters in front of the shooter. The Fédération Internationale de Tir Auxiliary Armes Sportives de Chasse, FITASC, compact sporting is a type of shotgun sport shooting similar to sporting clays, trap, and skeet. Other shotgun sports with, at least partial, international recognition include sporting clays, down the line/ATA and 5-stand. Running target. Running target shooting refers to a number of disciplines involving a shooting target sometimes called a boar, moose, or deer that is made to move as if it is a running animal. Events of this type include ISSF 10-meter running target, ISSF 10-meter running target mixed, ISSF 50-meter running target, ISSF 50-meter running target mixed. Running moose, popular in Scandinavia both as a sport and hunting exercise. Competitions in Sweden are held at 80 meters. Running deer, also somewhat popular in Scandinavia and Great Britain. Practical shooting. Practical shooting, also known as action shooting or dynamic shooting, is a generic term applicable to shooting sports where speed is of equal importance as precision. Many of the disciplines involve movement, and when using handguns they are often drawn from a holster. The International Practical Shooting Confederation, IPSC, is the oldest and largest sanctioning body within practical shooting. IPSC is sometimes considered the Formula One of shooting sports, and is shot with handguns, rifles, and shotguns. While the United States Practical Shooting Association, USPSA, is the U.S. regional affiliate of IPSC, many of USPSA's rules differ slightly from those used internationally. IPSC was developed by former police and civilian marksmen and later used as a basis for modern military and police exercises. It is a variation where the shooter often moves during shooting, and hits scored and shooting time are equally important. Stage procedure is generally not dictated, freestyle, and the shooter is allowed to determine the order and manner in which he or she engages the targets. International Defensive Pistol Association, IDPA, is an action shooting sport that uses semi-automatic handguns and revolvers with a strong emphasis on concealed shooting. Many aspects of stage engagement are dictated to competitors and penalties are given to competitors whom the safety officer determines attempted to gain a competitive advantage or engaged in a forbidden action with a guilty mind, that he knowingly failed to do right. 3-gun, 3G, or multi-gun, MG, are practical shooting events where each of the stages generally require the competitor to use and transition between a combination of rifles, handguns, and or shotguns or other types of firearms. 3-gun has a lot in common with ordinary IPSC/USPSA matches, having courses of fire where the shooter must move through different stages and engage targets in a variety of different positions. Steel Challenge is a speed shooting championship solely about shooting steel targets as fast as possible, and is governed by the Steel Challenge Shooting Association, SCSA. There are 8 standardized courses of fire, and a special stop plate must be shot last to stop the timer. International Confederation of Revolver Enthusiasts, ICOR, is an international community which promotes action shooting competitions with revolvers. Founded in 1991, the sport has elements from the Bianchi Cup, IPSC, and the Steel Challenge. IPSC Action Air follows the same principle of IPSC, using airsoft instead of real firearms. The ranges, paper targets, and poppers are scaled down to suit airsoft, and the sport enjoys popularity in countries such as Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Japan, where civilian ownership of real firearms are either illegal or extremely difficult to obtain. Bowling pin shooting, primarily shot with handguns, has the competitors race against one another to knock standard bowling pins from a table in the shortest elapsed time. Action airgun is an indoor action shooting sport using semi-automatic airsoft pistols and courses of fire downloaded from a central hub. Shooters upload shooting times to a website to resolve competitions. Bench rest. Bench rest shooting is concerned with shooting small groups with the rifleman sitting on a chair, bench, and the rifle supported from a table. Of all shooting disciplines, this is the most demanding equipment-wise. Depending on equipment class, international bench rest competitions are governed by either the World Bench Rest Shooting Federation or World Rimfire and Air Rifle Bench Rest Federation. Metallic silhouette. Metallic silhouette competitors shoot at animal-shaped steel silhouettes, chickens, pigs, turkeys, and rams, that must be knocked down to score. Banks of 5 targets are placed at up to 500 meters, with distance and size of target determined by firearm class. Classes include handguns, small-bore rifle, hunter, silhouette, high-power rifle, hunter, silhouette, air rifle, and black powder rifle. Handguns used in the unlimited categories are rifle-like in appearance, Thompson Contender, Remington XP100, and other pistols are chambered in rifle calibers with the power, aerodynamic efficiency, and external ballistics required for precise shooting at 200 meters. There are silhouette categories appropriate for virtually all types of adjustable sight pistols and rifles, only excluding high-velocity armor-piercing rounds that would damage targets. Targets for open-sighted guns are placed between 25 and 200 meters, and are designed to provide a usable size of the hit zone of about 1.5 milliradians, or 5 minutes of arcade. Western cowboy action shooting, CA, almost identical to USPSA and IDPA stage design but with Western cowboy-themed props, shot with long guns and revolvers of the same era. Mere act of shooting itself is not enough. Competitors must choose and go by a cowboy nickname or alias and are required to look the part by donning authentic cowboy and cowgirl garments. Cowboy mounted shooting, also called Western mounted shooting or simply mounted shooting, is a competitive equestrian sport involving the riding of a horse to negotiate a shooting pattern. Rule sets vary between shooting sport organizations. It can be based on the historical reenactment of historic shooting events held at Wild West shows in the late 19th century. Modern events use blank ammunition instead of live rounds, certified to break a target balloon within 20 feet. Muzzle loading. Muzzle loading are concerned with shooting replica, or antique, guns. Para shooting. Paralympic shooting, also known as shooting para sport, is an adaptation of shooting sports for competitors with disabilities. Paralympic shooting first appeared in the Summer Paralympics at the 1976 Toronto Games. Para shooting is internationally governed by the International Paralympic Committee. To help establish fair competition, a shooting classification called parachuting classification in place for the Paralympic Games. Competitions using factory and service firearms. Shooting competitions for factory and service firearms, usually called service rifle, service pistol, production, factory, or stock, describe a set of disciplines or equipment classes where the types of permitted firearms are subject to type approval and few aftermarket modifications are permitted. Thus the terms refer to permitted equipment and modifications rather than the type of shooting format itself. The names service rifle and service pistol stem from that the equipment permitted for these types of competitions traditionally were based on standard issue firearms used by one or several armed forces and civilian versions of these, while the terms production, factory, and stock often are applied to more modern disciplines with similar restrictions on equipment classes. Factory and service classes are often restrictive in nature, and the types of firearms permitted are usually rugged, versatile, and affordable. In comparison, more expensive custom competition equipment are popular in more permissive equipment classes. Both types of equipment classes can be found within many disciplines, such as bullseye, field, practical and long-range shooting. Plinking. Plinking refers to informal target shooting done for pleasure or practice, typically at non-standard targets such as tin cans, logs, cartons, fruits, or any other homemade or naturally occurring objects like rocks or tree branches. The primary appeals of plinking as a sport are the broad variety of easily available locations, minimal costs, freedom in practice styles, and more relaxing and less restrictive shooting experience. The flexibility of target choice is also why plinking is popular. A small, three-dimensional target in an outdoors setting is much more akin to a real-world hunting and varminting scenario, presenting a better simulated opportunity to practice shooting skills. A plinking target will also often react much more positively to a hit than a paper target used in formal competitions, either audibly with a sharp impact sound, hence the name plink, or visually by bouncing, splattering, or falling over. Steel targets used for formal action and long-range shooting competitions are also popular for plinking due to the ease of setting up and confirming good hits. Bow shooting sports. Archery. Modern competitive archery involves shooting arrows at a target for accuracy from a set distance or distances. A person who participates in archery is typically called an archer or a bowman, and a person who is fond of or an expert at archery is sometimes called a toxopholite. The most popular competitions worldwide are called target archery. Another form, particularly popular in Europe and America, is field archery, which generally is shot at targets set at various distances in a wooded setting. There are also several other lesser-known and historical forms, as well as archery novelty games. Note that the tournament rules vary from organization to organization. World Archery Federation rules are often considered normative, but large non-WA affiliated archery organizations do exist with different rules. Competitive archery in the United States is governed by USA Archery and National Field Archery Association, NFAA, which also certifies instructors. Run archery is a shooting discipline connecting archery with running. Crossbow. The International Crossbow Shooting Union, Internationale Armbrustschützen Union or IAU, was founded in Landshut, Germany on June 24, 1956 as the world governing body for crossbow target shooting. The IAU supervises world, continental and international crossbow shooting championships in 3 disciplines, 30 match crossbow, 10 match crossbow and field crossbow shooting. IAU World Championships take place every 2 years with continental championships on intervening years. Other international and IAU Cup events take place annually. Athletic shooting sports. Biathlon is an Olympic sport combining cross-country skiing, normally freestyle skate skiing, and shooting with .22 LR rifles. In Scandinavia the discipline is simply known as ski shooting, Swedish, skidskit, Danish, skiskidning, Norwegian, skiskiting. Ski field shooting, Norwegian, DFS Skyfeltskiding, is a Norwegian discipline arranged by the National Rifle Association of Norway which is based on the origins of modern biathlon. It is normally held in a classic, in-track, format, but competitions can also be held in a freestyle skate skiing format. Furthermore, the shooting is done with full-bore calibers and usually in the field from temporary shooting ranges. The discipline is considered as a near precursor to modern biathlon. Summer biathlon, with skiing replaced by running, popular in Germany. Field running, Norwegian, DFS Skogslope, is a Norwegian discipline arranged by the National Rifle Association of Norway combining running with shooting. It is considered the summer edition of ski field shooting. Running distances are usually between 2 and 3 kilometers with 2 to 3 shooting series. Target sprint combines medium-range run, 3 times 400 m, and air gun shooting. Military patrol was a team winter sport in which athletes competed in cross-country skiing, ski mountaineering and rifle shooting. It was usually contested between countries or military units. Modern pentathlon includes timed shooting with an air pistol as the first of its 5 parts. Underwater target shooting is a combined underwater and shooting sport that tests a competitor's ability to accurately use a spear gun via a set of individual and team events conducted in a swimming pool using free diving or apnea technique. Confrontational shooting sports. Confrontational shooting sports is a set of relatively new team sports using non-lethal ranged weapons that are safe enough to shoot at other people. Previously, such games were not possible due to safety concerns since bows and guns are generally too lethal and dangerous for human targets, but the development of newer airgun and infrared technologies allowed for the development of safe confrontational disciplines. While initially only for sport and recreations, professional sport competitions are now held. These type of games are also used for tactical gunfight training by military and law enforcement agencies to some extent. Paintball. Paintball is a competitive sport in which players from opposing teams eliminate opponents out of play by hitting them with round, breakable, dye-filled oil and gelatin pellets, paintballs, shot from gas-powered air weapons called paintball markers. It can be played on indoor or outdoor fields scattered with natural or artificial terrain, which players use for tactical cover. Paintball game types vary, but can include capture the flag, elimination, ammunition limits, defending or attacking a particular point or area, or capturing objects of interest hidden in the playing area. Depending on the variant played, games can last from seconds to hours, or even days in scenario play. The game is developed in the 1980s and now is regularly played at a formal sporting level with organized competition involving major tournaments, professional teams, and players. National Spall League is the United States professional paintball circuit. The league consists of a professional division, consisting of the best players the sport has to offer, that extends down to the beginner ranks of Division 5 for those newer to the tournament atmosphere. The league hosts 5 national events across the country in places such as Las Vegas, Dallas, Nashville, Cleveland, Chicago, Atlantic City, and Orlando throughout the year, starting in March and ending their season in early November. The league's largest event each year is the season finale known as the World Cup, with the 2016 World Cup hosted 3,554 players from 35 countries. National Collegiate Paintball Association is an all-volunteer, non-profit organization created by United States college players. The goal of the NCPA is to promote the positive aspects of the sport in an intercollegiate manner. The NCPA consists of 2 distinct classes which competes separately. Class AA is an open class division where any college may enter and compete in regional and national tournaments. Class A is a closed class division where only certain colleges may compete after securing a bid in the previous season, and represents the best talent of college paintball and includes universities such as Drexel University, University of Maryland, Illinois State University, Purdue University, University of Connecticut, Penn State University and 10 other teams across 3 conferences all fighting for a national title. The association's 2007 playoff tournament was aired on Fox Sports Net's digital cable college sports network, Fox College Sports. Airsoft. Airsoft is a competitive sport similar in concept to paint.
Please subscribe and thanks for watching.